Hey, what's up and welcome back. We're hitting 1994 again to reload the Tom Hanks classic, Forrest Gump. Hanks is one of the greatest actors of our time. My love for him goes back to his days on Bosom Buddies, and he became one of my favorite actors when I saw him in Big. I remember him being dope in this movie. I can't wait to get into it. Let's reload Forrest Gump.
He was minding his own enlightening zone when the bolt came down. Something's wrong, all the movie knowledge gone, so he reloading the list. New brain, who dis?
We open on a feather flying through the Georgia air. It's a metaphor. The feather really isn't part of the story. They don't tell us this lady's name, but she looks like a Sheila. Miss Sheila is a hard-working nurse who really looks forward to reading her magazine while waiting for the bus before work.
Hello.
This guy here is Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump.
And he desperately wants Sheila's attention.
Do you want a chocolate?
This guy's not taking the hint.
Those must be comfortable shoes.
He's like, I used to have robot legs. And that finally kind of gets her attention. So he really goes for it.
Mama named me after the great Civil War hero, General Nathan Bedford Forrest. He started up this club called the Ku Klux Klan.
And guess what? That totally works, because Sheila can't afford to ignore when people say stuff like that. So now that he's got her attention, he's gonna tell her his entire life story.
I've worn lots of shoes.
Forrest grew up with a single mom down south.
Crooked as a politician.
Because of a twisted spine, he needs to have the aforementioned robot legs. Forrest has a lot of things working against him. In addition to the spine thing and the poverty, his IQ is 5 points too low for the local school.
Forrest is right here.
But Mama Gump doesn't want 5 points to keep him from getting a traditional education. And, fortunately, or unfortunately for her, the principal of this school is just disgusting and willing to negotiate.
Is that Mr. Gump?
Forrest has no idea what just happened in his mom's bedroom.
Your mama sure does care about your school.
But he knows an opportunity to properly roast someone when he sees it. I'm pretty sure they're poor, but poverty looks different for some people. So they live in this plantation house that's been in her family for generations, and they rent rooms out to make money. They constantly have people in and out of here. Like Elvis Presley, who, you know that pee-pee dance that he used to do? Turns out he stole that from a disabled kid. On his first day of school, Forrest takes the bus, and these kids just aren't ready for cyborgs yet.
Tiger. You can sit here if you want.
We meet Jenny, a little girl who has her own rough life and doesn't mind sharing a seat with a mechanized boy.
Are you stupid or something?
I'm as stupid as stupid does.
Because friendship is so much easier in grade school, that makes them best friends.
From that day on, we was always together. Jenny and me was like peas and carrots.
Yeah, just go ahead and read, Sheila. He's not gonna stop talking. One day, these kids decide to knock another 5 IQ points out of Forrest. And it's not a little bit funny.
Okay, you know what, though? There ain't nothing funny about that.
Jenny has no faith in humanity, so she doesn't even try to talk to these kids. She's like, get the hell out of here, Forrest.
Run, Forrest! Run away! Hurry!
And my man runs for his life.
Run, Forrest! Run!
It turns out his legs are done incubating or whatever, and his robotics fall off. And now his legs are powerful. So powerful. He runs right into the next scene, where we find out why Jenny expects the worst from people. Her dad is an abusive drunk, and she and Forrest pray that she turn into a bird and fly away.
Dear God, make me a bird.
It does not work. But the police do come and take her to live with her grandma, so close enough.
She was so close.
Years pass, and you don't really outgrow inbreeding, so those bully kids are still throwing rocks. When the football coach sees how fast he is, he gets Forrest onto the football team, which gets him a free ride to college.
I got to go to college too.
He starts talking about how weird it was when black people first came to his school, and Sheila just...
With us?
She can't anymore. She decides to take the next bus she sees.
My bus is here.
It was nice talking to you.
This lady makes a fatal mistake.
I remember when that happened.
And now this story is her problem. One day, Forrest visits Jenny at her college, and she's coming back from a date. He thinks her date is hurting her. And he just pummels dude.
Forrest!
Jenny sneaks Forrest into her dorm room. Then she just strips in front of him. And he starts feeling funny. Jenny's like, have you ever been with a girl? And no, Jenny, he has not. And he has no idea what just happened. He's probably so confused right now.
Oh, I'm dizzy.
Anyway, he gets on the All-American football team. He's invited to the White House, where he has an ungodly number of Dr. Peppers. And then he tells President Kennedy he has to pee.
I gotta pee.
Hold on. Is it just me? Or does this guy right here look like an older Tom Hanks? When he graduates college, he gets recruited into the Army.
Tight.
As soon as he gets on the bus, he makes a new best friend.
Sit down if you want to. Benjamin Buford.
His name is Bubba.
People call me Bubba.
Forrest is just about to say robot legs when this dude is like, let's be shrimp boat guys.
I'm going into the shrimping business for myself.
And we find out that Bubba's family has been cooking shrimp since the slave days. He knows everything about shrimping.
I know everything there is to know about the shrimping business.
To prove it, this madman just blurts out every single thing he can think of with shrimp in it.
Gumbo, pan fried, deep fried, stir fried, lemon shrimp.
Forrest hears that Jenny was kicked out of school for posing in Playboy, and now she has a gig, singing.
A job, singing in a show.
But there's no gig. She's at a strip club, singing, naked, at a strip club. No matter how you feel about strip clubs, imagine how bewildering this must be for them. They saw the sign out front. They paid at the door and walked in like, what the hell? Guitar? I'm just saying, this is the kind of bait and switch that's definitely going to lead to violence. Anyway, she gets carried out and she's all done with this gig now, I guess. Forrest tries to tell her he loves her.
I love you.
But she's just an awful person.
You don't know what love is. Forrest, you stay away from me, okay?
They sending me to Vietnam.
He tells her he's going to Vietnam and she asks him to run like hell if there's trouble.
Okay, just run away.
Morning, son.
In Vietnam, we meet Lieutenant Dan Taylor.
I'm Lieutenant Dan Taylor. Welcome
This guy loves war.
He was from a long, great military tradition.
One of his ancestors died in each major American war, and he can't wait to join them.
I guess you could say he had a lot to live up to.
In case you're wondering, this side of Vietnam is no good.
And it didn't quit for 4 months.
It rains pretty much every day. And when the rain does stop, it gets replaced by bullets. When bombs start dropping, Forrest practically runs clear out of Vietnam. He leaves the entire jungle in his dust.
I ran and ran.
Eventually, he decides to go back for Bubba.
Bubba.
But this guy calls out to him, and he can't just leave him, I guess.
I couldn't just let him lay there all alone and scared the way he was.
All right, time to get Bubba.
And every time I went back looking for Bubba,
Son of a... Damn, Even Lieutenant Dan? So he has to save his entire platoon before he can get to Bubba.
I gotta find Bubba!
When he finally does get to Bubba, he's almost ready to start unbreathing. Forrest carries him to the riverbank too, and Bubba is saved.
I wanna go home. But now he's dead. It was a bullet, wasn't it?
What the? Who the hell is this guy?
A bullet?
Also, he's right.
He bit me.
While carrying Lieutenant Dan, Forrest catches a bullet in the butt cheek.
Yes, sir. Bit me directly in the buttocks.
So he ends up in the hospital, and Lieutenant Dan is in the bed next to him.
It's time for your bath, Lieutenant.
Forrest, please, I know what you're thinking, but now's not going to be a good time for that story. Lieutenant Dan is really having a hard time with this whole situation.
I should have died out there with my men.
Not only did he lose his legs, but he also really did not expect to make it through that war.
I was supposed to die in the field.
I don't know if he owes someone money or something, but he's pissed about still being alive.
What am I gonna do now?
Not Forrest, though. Forrest is having the time of his life, eating obscene amounts of ice cream and learning how to play ping pong.
I played ping pong, even when I didn't have anyone to play ping pong with.
Forrest goes to the White House to get his Medal of Honor,
To men from each of the armed services.
and he shows his butt to President Johnson. That's probably the most unexpectedly badass way I've ever heard of someone greeting a president.
God damn, son.
After the ceremony, he accidentally becomes a guest speaker at a war protest. Jenny happens to be here, and they have a sweet reunion.
Jenny!
She takes him to meet her boyfriend and their Black Panther friends. Her dude doesn't realize how incredibly punchable his face is, and he decides to put his hands on Jenny. Forrest mauls him. That's their dude, so they have to say something. But best they can do is, all right, Joe, I guess you should leave.
Come on, Forrest.
Jenny and Forrest hang out all night,
I would never hurt you, Jenny.
and he tells her again that he wants to be with her.
I wanted to be your boyfriend.
But she's still not taking him seriously. And the next day,
It would never hurt you.
she gets back with that abuser dude. Instead of going back to Vietnam, Forrest gets to play ping pong across the country. He even gets onto the All-American team, which is a thing.
The Army decided that I should be on the All-America ping pong team.
A big thing, apparently, because he's even invited onto a late-night show as a guest alongside John Lennon.
Welcome home.
Quite a trip. Can you,
Outside the show, Lieutenant Dan comes to see him and congratulate him on being awarded the Medal of Honor.
They gave you.
An imbecile, a moron, the Congressional Medal of Honor.
Yes, sir.
Well,
He hates life now. And you know what? Life hates him too.
Lieutenant Dan!
Also, he's not a Christian man.
Jesus, that.
They even had a priest come and talk to me.
They hang out for a few days, and Forrest tells him about his plans to go into the shrimping business.
I gotta be the captain.
Our shrimp boat captain.
Lieutenant Dan tells him that if he ever becomes a shrimp boat captain, he'll be his first mate.
I will come and be your first mate.
They meet up with some of Dan's unchristian lady friends at a bar, and they go back to his motel room.
What are you?
This chick's breath stinks, though.
She tastes like cigarettes.
Yeah, I could have told you that. The ping pong team is invited to the White House.
Again.
Well, where are you staying?
Nixon finds out that they're staying in a crappy motel, so he hooks them up with rooms at the Watergate Hotel.
I'll have my people take care of it for you.
Forrest repays him by ruining his whole illegal setup.
I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
And that ends Forrest's time in the Army.
Service is up, son.
So I went home.
Back home, he's paid a bunch of money to endorse a ping pong company, and he uses the money to buy this whack-ass boat so he can start the Bubba Gump Shrimp Company.
Are you stupid or something?
Stupid is as stupid does, sir.
True to his word, Lieutenant Dan shows up to help.
That's where we're gonna find those shrimp, my boy!
But he's exactly zero help. They're so bad at shrimping that finally Lieutenant Dan is like, I don't know, maybe we need Jesus.
Just pray for shrimp.
I'm not sure what deity Forrest prays to, but dude goes hard for his followers.
God showed up.
Who did you pray to? A hurricane destroys literally all other shrimping boats.
After that, shrimping was easy.
They're gonna make all of the shrimp money now.
Hold on there, boy.
This dude is like, what? Get the hell out of here.
Bubba Gump Shrimp Corporation.
Apparently, he was on board for Forrest saving Vietnam, getting the Medal of Honor, meeting 2 presidents, becoming ping pong champion of the universe, meeting John Lennon. All of that is good, but shrimp money is where this man draws the line.
We were sitting next to a millionaire.
This old lady gives him an opening and instantly regrets it.
Story. And you tell it so well.
One day, Lieutenant Dan doesn't thank Forrest for saving his life.
I never thanked you for saving my life.
Okay. Forrest gets a call telling him Mama Gump is sick and he races home.
Mama said.
What's the matter, Mom?
I'm dying, Forrest.
Yeah, just rip that Band-Aid off, I guess. To me, this is the most tragic part of this whole story.
Life is a box of chocolates, Forrest. You never know what you're gonna get.
She died, never knowing that the chocolate box lid tells you exactly what you're gonna get. You can always know, but she didn't know.
And that's all I have to say about that.
Forrest decides to leave Lieutenant Dan in charge of the shrimping, and he spends his time donating to churches and hospitals, and he cuts the high school football field's grass for free. He also gives Bubba's mom what would have been his half of the Bubba Gump money, and she immediately hires a British woman.
She didn't have to work in nobody's kitchen no more.
Jenny shows up one day, and she stays with him for a while.
Or maybe it was because she was so tired.
They go on walks, F up her dad's old house, they kind of dance. It all goes to his head a little, and he proposes to her.
Will you marry me?
You don't want to marry me.
She's still not taking him seriously.
I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is.
Then a little while later, she crawls into his bed in the middle of the night and really scrambles his brain. And she doesn't stick around to answer questions the next morning.
I'm not running.
Now, he's all messed up. What did she do to me? Was that awesome? What was that smell? Did she do something to my soul? Pretty lightheaded after. Am I a man now? Did she steal a kidney? Am I dead? Yeah, he's super confused. But he also feels like super fast right now.
For no particular reason, I decided to go for a little run.
So dude is running again. He runs clear to the ocean.
I ran clear to the ocean.
He just keeps running from one coast to the other and back. 2 years in, people are running with him.
Why are you doing this?
He inspires a bumper sticker.
Pile of dog shit!
It happens. And he made a lot of money off of it.
And a t-shirt company.
Have a nice day.
He runs for 3 years straight.
I had run for 3 years, 2 months, 14 days, and 16 hours.
These people smell so bad right now.
I'm pretty tired.
One day, he finally runs out of that post-coital energy.
Think I'll go home now.
And that brings us back to that bus stop bench. Turns out Jenny wrote him a letter inviting him here to Georgia.
See her, and that's what I'm doing here.
Grandma finally sees her opportunity to get rid of him, and she's like, run that way.
Down that way.
And dude is out.
Everything works out for you.
He gets to Jenny's apartment, and she apologizes.
I want to apologize for anything that I ever did to you, because...
And then...
Yoo-hoo! This is my old friend from Alabama.
Oh.
Hello, Mr. Gump. I see dead people.
Hello?
His name's Forrest.
She doesn't care that the last time she confused him, he ran around the world. So she drops a bomb on him.
You're his daddy, Forrest.
Whatever you think of his IQ, that's the face of someone calculating back child support.
There's nothing you need to do, okay? You didn't do anything wrong. Okay?
It's actually a really sweet scene, with Forrest wanting to know if his son has a low IQ as well.
He's very smart. He's one of the smartest in his class.
She takes him to the park so she can hit him with the 1-2 punch of I'm dying.
I'm sick. There isn't anything they can do about it.
And let's get married.
Would you marry me, Forrest?
Okay.
So they get married. And now Lieutenant Dan has a fiancée and his own robot legs.
What they use on the space shuttle.
Magic legs.
They're robot legs. And they're a family. For a little bit, and then she dies. That doesn't stop him from talking non-stop, though.
We're all just floating around accidental like on a breeze.
And Forrest is a really good dad. And he's gonna wait right here until his son comes back. The end. Forrest Gump is still an excellent movie. Forrest and Jenny run for the entire time, for different reasons and with very different results. They're both the feather, too. Kind of floating through life, not taking control of things. For Forrest, that ends with millions of dollars. For Jenny, that leads to a pretty tragic life. I really enjoyed reloading this one, and I loved all of the cast, from Mama and young Gump to Bubba and Lieutenant Dan. What do you think? That's not rhetorical. Let me know in the comments. Also, like the video, subscribe, share it, call Grandma, tell her we did it, and if you can't stand the splash, back away from the urinal. I'm out.
New brain, new days.
You are done!
No, you are done.
I'm done!
Done!